our emotions, that word emotion has that part, motion. If you think of motion, you think of activity, you think of movement. And by the way, I'd like you to pick it from that angle, that these emotions literally produce motion in us. They produce activity, they produce action, they determine our activities. They determine what we are going to do next. And so if we do not learn how to appropriately align them or invest them, then we are likely to get the results that we do not want. We are not likely to reap the benefit of investing our emotions. So the question is, how do we invest our emotions? I'd like us to think of a bank account. A bank account where there is the deposit and there is withdrawal. When you deposit more than you withdraw, then you will always have some positive balance. When you withdraw more than you deposit, you are likely going to have an overdraft. If you have that facility, you know, not everyone can access overdraft depending on the type of account you are operating. Or you're going to always have some negative balance and you're always anxious and struggling. So if we think in that aspect and we think of books of accounts, including balance sheet and cash in, cash out and all that for people who are in business, how, therefore, should we invest our emotions?
Well, like you said, whenever we invest, we expect returns, and it's those returns that we reinvest and grow. Where there is motion, there is energy that puts that motion, you know, that activity to get going. So I would expect where I'm investing, and we talked of positivity and negativity, I invest, my returns are positive. So when you're talking of, and obviously when you're investing, okay, putting in maize, you expect to harvest maize. Putting in a lot of money, you expect to a lot of money in return, and emotions likewise. And therefore, I would expect when whatever emotions I put forward or I invest, I get back peace, joy, you know, love, blissfulness. Those are the things that I expect in return. And therefore, whatever that is going that I'm going to give out, it has to give me back the same thing. Like you're throwing the ball up, the same motion, it goes up, it comes back to me in the same motion, the same energy I put in an activity, the same energy comes back. So if I'm going to invest in anger, I should not expect to be happy, and I will go to bed feeling angry, even though I'm going to say I don't like that person. I'll literally be going to bed with that person and waking up with that person and tagging along with that person everywhere that I go, meaning that I love my enemy, and that person doesn't really give me positive energy, doesn't make me happy. So when you're investing, you've got to have the financial muscle, in this case emotional muscles, to let go the bad negative energy. And it really takes a lot of energy to let go, you know, anger, and you decide, I refuse to be angry, and I choose maybe not to ignore, get the lessons and move on, but just totally release. So yes, when I invest, I want to get back that. Every time I'm about to react, I always ask myself, the value I'm going to get back, is it joy, peace, love, health? Especially because when I go to bed angry, I wake up with my lungs and my heart feeling so bad and all that. And again, there's a ripple effect. I have children, so when I'm stressed with work, I pour it down on the children, and they don't know why I am angry, and then it affects them. They grow up that way and they'll do the same to their children. It becomes a pattern in their lives. So yes, I always ask myself, what am I getting out of this? Am I gonna be happy? Will I feel loved? Those are the things I ask myself and I go for.
Beautiful, beautiful, Georgina. Thank you. Thank you. That's very beautiful. So generally, that is what investment in this case means. And you know, in every investment, when you put in, you are supposed to earn more in return. You do not want to put in something, an investment, and then your return finally is going to be less. And that's the way the law works. I've started talking about laws. I love laws, by the way. My background is physics, and I understand better in terms of formulas. So if I put in an investment somewhere, I do not want to get less than that. I want to get multiple. And this works in the same way when we're talking about this emotional investment. Think about wealth. There is emotional wealth that each one of us needs to have. And if you are going to have the material wealth, you may need to first have emotional wealth. If you do not have emotional wealth, all the material wealth under the sun will not do you anything. And that's why people get everything on earth, then they realize they are still empty and kill themselves. You see? So we've got to learn, what is it that I am going to put my emotions in, and to what degree? Just like you can divide your investments, this one I'm going to put in chicken, this one I'm going to put in weed. Yeah, if we got Wajakoya, we would start separating where will I put weed, where will I put snakes? Yeah, you want to separate you want to divide your investments depending on what returns you anticipate and something like that. And you engage brain now. That is it. You engage brain. So this brain thing needs to be taking control, and not just your heart taking control. Between you and your emotions, one is a master and one is a slave. The question is, who is the master and who is the slave? Who are you in that equation? Are you the master or are you the slave? Yeah. So it's good for us to know that thoughts become things. And if we engage our thoughts in those things that are not going to give us as much the reward that we want, we are investing our thoughts and emotions in things that do not that are not going to give us the rewards that we want. We're not going to be happy, we're not going to be joyous and all that. Then we need to find out where else to invest our emotions, or how to take control of that particular emotion, that particular situation. And if we dwell in a certain emotion long enough, it will produce its kind. If you dwell in thinking about accident, and always scared about them, you're going to get them, I guarantee you. Yeah, there is a story told by Trump in one of his books about this person who was always prone to accidents, and finally, and he knew him, by the way, and finally, when he was taken to hospital at some point, those people chose that let's use an ambulance to take him back home when he recovered, so that he may not get an accident again. But guess what? He got involved in an accident while being taken home using the very hospital ambulance. Why? Because it is not the activities that determine our thoughts or our situations. It is our thoughts first that determine all these things. And so it's good to know that if we allow our thoughts to dwell on something that doesn't seem to feel good, that is not likely to reward us positively, we're going to get that. We are actually working for it, working hard. We are investing our all to be able to achieve that particular result.